votes remain to be counted.
There are votes left to count, but we have a very strong lead.
There are voices that were waiting to be heard.
The math is on our side to win this election.
And I promise you tonight, we're going to make sure that every vote is counted. Every single vote. Every vote's getting counted.
Georgia's bitterly fought race for governor was perhaps the most closely watched in the 2018 midterms.
Let's go first to Georgia.
Georgia's Secretary of State, Republican candidate for governor, Brian Kemp.
Kemp's opponent is Democrat Stacey Abrams, who will be the first black woman governor in the United States.
A contest between a Trump-aligned Republican and a firebrand Democrat, vying to bring progressive values to this traditionally conservative but rapidly diversifying state. It symbolised many of America's deepest divisions, and the result still hasn't been decided. My time in Georgia began 3 days before, at a rally Donald Trump held for Brian Kemp, where it was clear fears about progressive politics and immigration seemed to be on most people's minds.
Go, Mr. Trump!
Tell me a bit about why you like Brian Kemp.
He's not a socialist like his competitor.
She is very far left of anyone who's run for the governorship of the state of Georgia.
She was even caught encouraging illegals to vote for her to be part of the so-called blue wave. Make no mistakes, folks. That's crazy.
Just tell me a bit about your sign there.
Jobs versus mobs.
Donald Trump has suggested that one of these mobs might be this caravan. Do you think that's a mob?
It's an invasion.
What if ISIS came in, or some foreign country with things to hurt our population?
Half of us don't have jobs. A lot of them come in and just taking our jobs. This is where we live. This is America. This is our country.
Polls indicated an extremely tight race here, and Trump went on the offensive by pushing false theories about migrants and illegal voting.
Democrats want to invite caravan after caravan of illegal aliens to pour into our country. And they figure if enough of them come in, eventually they'll be able to vote, and they're going to vote for the Democrats.
But actually, the major controversy with voting rights in Georgia relates to Kemp. He has remained the incumbent Secretary of State, in charge of overseeing the elections here, despite running himself. What is the world missing about Brian Kemp?
His honesty and integrity. He can't be asked to do something that's unethical.
He's kind of being accused of being unethical at the moment, isn't he? Do you think there's any sort of conflict of interest there?
No. No.
Good for fake news.
Okay.
Not overseeing his own election.
Do you want to come and have a chat to us?
I'll have to tell you. Governor Kemp is not,
the best. The best. Honest.
That's right.
He's
the Secretary of State's office.
He's still the Secretary of State, though, isn't he? Sorry?
It's a joke.
Okay.
And you can stand up and, throw false accusations at anyone. Look what they did to Judge Kavanaugh. You can say anything, but if you don't have any proof or any evidence or anything to back it up, it's meaningless.
Oh, Donald! Wait, we need our picture. Hang on. Come here. Where's my camera?
I'm Brian Kemp. I'm so conservative.
In this deep South state that Trump won comfortably in 2016,
I own guns.
Kemp has modelled himself as a politically incorrect, straight-talking Georgian who backs the president's agenda.
I got a big truck, just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yep, I just said that.
It couldn't be further from the progressive grassroots campaign that Stacey Abrams ran. She's pushed expanding healthcare, enforcing a higher minimum wage, and reforming gun laws.
Okay, so you want to go to 72?
I came to meet some of the young women working for one of America's largest domestic workers' unions, looking to get the vote out in Atlanta's poorest neighborhoods.
Y'all already been out to vote?
No, we won't vote though.
Y'all going tomorrow?
Yeah.
We need everybody out there in droves.
I'm gonna make sure they vote. Matter of fact, they ain't gonna work tomorrow, they don't vote.
Ooh, give me some. That's what you gotta do. You gotta put it out there like that.
When I say I'm working on the Stacey Abrams campaign, they're like, oh, so you think she's gonna win? And I'm like, hell yeah, what you mean? Because I've been out here talking to people who are, yeah, I've never voted before. Oh, I've never had someone come to my door before, and things like that.
Oh, here it is.
So tomorrow, the line's gonna be kind of long, so I would definitely advise you to go early as possible so you can have the rest of the day to yourself. But go out there, man, we're trying to make history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna vote.
All right, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. All right, high five. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Question.
Okay. Is this the first election you might have voted in, or is it?
Yes, first one.
A lot of her promises sound true, like, sound like she can fulfill a lot of things.
Okay, you're gonna go to 82 or 86?
Do you think these are people that were maybe ignored in 2016 and other elections?
I would agree with that. Not only does your vote matter and your voice counts, but if you be silent, then you'll let other people speak for you. You might not be happy with what they say. And I got that from Michelle Obama. She was online speaking to the people. I was like, ooh, I like that. I'm gonna use that.
Do you think she's going to win?
Oh yes, indefinitely, indubitably, yes. She has to. Like, we need her to win. It's not just we want her to, we need her to.
But long before Election Day, experts here warned that policy may not be the only thing that determines the outcome. Carol Anderson is one of America's most prominent civil rights historians and has been concerned about voter suppression under Kemp for years.
He has been a vote suppressor of the first magnitude. He has purged over 1.5 million people off of the rolls. He has blocked registrants from being able to actually register to vote. 70% of those blocked were African American. African Americans aren't 70% of the electorate. When America is stoked by fear, bad things happen. You've got this fear of brown people, foreigners, tough people, criminals invading the U.S., then illegally voting to steal the election for a black woman. It is Hollywood script perfect, and it's all a lie.
In the rural outskirts of Atlanta, I came to see Kemp cast his ballot.
Look, what the Democrats wanted me to do is to resign from office.
But when I asked him about his record on voting rights, he struck a defiant tone.
Mr. Kemp, you just went and cast your ballot there. During your tenure as Secretary of State here, you've made it harder for tens of thousands of people
I
in
would
Georgia
disagree with that
to
question
cast their ballots
completely.
across the
because
state.
You have no factual basis on making it harder for people to vote. It has never been easier for people to vote in the state of Georgia than it is right now. In fact, right now we're having record turnout. Did you realize that? We set a record for midterm turnouts.
So you don't view this election as being any more problematic than previous elections?
No, it's been very smooth all day long. We're looking forward to a great night tonight and hopefully record turnout. It'll be awesome. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Mr. Kemp.
Y'all let them have enough room to get into cars, please.
But for many here, casting a vote has not been that easy. Raheem Shabazz is a local filmmaker who was purged from the roles by Brian Kemp after he did not vote in 2 presidential election cycles.
This is where you would normally go? Yeah. The name didn't come up, and yours didn't come out. He went out to search the state.
He was able to cast a provisional ballot, but was unsure if it would be counted.
This is just a clear case of Brian Kemp being the chief suppressioner that he is under the command of the racist-in-chief, Donald Trump.
How did it feel not to be able to vote?
It was disappointing, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. The sad part is there's a lot of people believe that voting don't count. When you have an individual like Brian Kemp, they're going to do everything that's humanly possible to make sure that your vote don't count. If he is declared the winner of this election, he's going to be an illegitimate governor, and me and the hundreds of thousands of other people that wasn't allowed to vote is going to file a federal lawsuit.
At Abrams' watch party, the mood was one of cautious optimism.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers right now. It is Brian Kemp at 59%, followed by Stacey Abrams and the Libertarian Ted Metz.
But as the night wore on and Abrams trailed in the count, it became clear that this was going to go down to the wire. This was a tale of a divided Georgia. People of colour and urban voters turned out in huge numbers for Abrams, but Kemp's base, much of it in the rural, whiter areas, also turned up.
I know she's going to win. I'm very excited.
I'm expecting that history's going to be made.
Look, Stacey is a dynamic person, and she's captured the heart of not just Georgia, but the nation.
You know what? I'm not nervous, but I have this little excitement that's bubbling up. This is a breath of fresh air. This country really needs this right now. But of course, it's a fight. It's a fight because we have people who cheat and lie. It's really difficult to fight against that.
I'm not going to name names, but some have worked hard to take our voices away, to scare us away, to distract us. But if our vision is clear and we see the finish line, if I wasn't your first choice, or if you made no choice at all, you're going to have a chance to do a do-over. So let's get it done. Thank you so much.
It was always going to be tight, and it was always going to be close, and I think this is just like that last little push through that we have to do.
We're still here, so if it's still more work to do, we're going to work.
Whatever happens next, questions about Georgia's democratic process itself are likely to extend for months, if not years ahead. And the battle for Georgia's political future will continue into 2020.